GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
A record-breaking heat wave is pushing the province's power grid to its limits, and millions are already bracing for rolling blackouts this evening.
Federal officials in Ottawa have asked the private consortium Alto to study the feasibility of adding Kingston, Ontario, as an additional station on the National High-Speed Rail Corridor. The request arrives as the government finalizes the route that already includes 7 mandated stops spanning Ontario and Quebec. Alto's evaluation will focus on projected ridership, integration with existing commuter services, and the impact on travel times between Toronto and Montreal. Transportation Minister Marie-Claude Duffer said the review aims to ensure the network serves key population centers while remaining financially sustainable. Kingston City Council welcomed the prospect, citing potential economic benefits and improved connectivity for residents. The study is expected to be completed before the next phase of construction begins later this year. Ottawa's Transportation Bureau will monitor the findings and decide by early next year whether Kingston joins the line.
Police officers entered a birthday celebration in Montreal this morning and sprayed pepper spray into the gathering, a family says. The family filed a complaint accusing the Montreal Police Service of abusing its authority and using excessive force. Witnesses told investigators that officers arrived in uniform, shouted commands, and then deployed the irritant despite no apparent threat. No arrests were made, and the party was halted as guests fled the hall. The complaint was lodged with the Police Oversight Board, which will review the incident amid broader concerns over use of force practices across the city. Police spokesperson declined to comment on the specific allegations, while confirming an internal review is underway. The family hopes the inquiry will determine whether protocol was breached and what disciplinary steps may follow. The case may also influence upcoming city council discussions on police training reforms.
The Marché Public de Pointe-aux-Trembles celebrated 15 years this month, marking a milestone for the East End neighborhood. Launched in 2011 after a citizen petition called for a local hub, the market now draws thousands of visitors each Saturday. Local growers and artisans set up stalls to display seasonal produce, baked goods, and handcrafted items, giving residents a chance to sample fresh offerings straight from the source. Organizers said the regular Saturday gatherings have become a staple of community life, supporting small producers and encouraging neighborhood interaction. Over the years, the market has helped revitalize the area, turning what was once an underused corner into a bustling public space. Officials and volunteers plan a series of events throughout the anniversary month to thank the community that helped bring the market to life.
Heavy rain hammered the West Island today, dumping more than 150 millimeters of precipitation across the neighborhoods. Streets swelled, basements filled, and dozens of homes were left with water-logged floors and damaged belongings. City officials declared a state of emergency in the affected boroughs and dispatched crews to assess infrastructure strain. Residents, many still in wet shoes, have taken to sidewalks with mops, buckets, and pumps, clearing debris and moving furniture to higher ground. Utility workers are restoring power where outages occurred, while public works crews are pumping standing water from low-lying streets. The mayor's office urged anyone with flood damage insurance to file claims promptly and announced a review of drainage systems to improve preparedness for future storms. Community centers have opened doors for displaced families seeking temporary shelter.
Carey Price, Patrice Bergeron, Pekka Rinne, and Keith T. Tkachuk were formally elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame today in the player category, joining a distinguished class announced in Montreal. The ceremony also recognized Cindy Curley, completing a slate of 5 inductees across the Hall's categories. The Hall of Fame, which each year celebrates former players, coaches, and builders for their impact on the game, highlighted the 4 newly inducted players for their contributions on ice and off. Price, the longtime Canadiens goaltender, and Bergeron, a veteran forward with more than 1,000 career points, were noted for leadership and longevity. Rinne and T. Tkachuk added international accolades and a reputation for physical play. Curley's election underscores the broader scope of the Hall's honor roll, which continues to evolve as the sport's history expands.
We'll examine Quebec's $610 million boost for youth-focused TV revamp. Then back to you after the break. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the break. Let's dive into today's headlines, and now our local reporter takes us to the stories.
The province announced a $610 million package aimed at reshaping television for younger audiences. The funding provided by the government of Quebec will be directed to Télé-Québec for a comprehensive overhaul of its programming slate. Officials say the money will boost Quebec-focused content on screens and help the public broadcaster better serve children and teens. The initiative arrives as broadcasters seek to keep younger viewers engaged amid streaming competition. By channeling resources into new productions, interactive formats and digital distribution, Télé-Québec hopes to become a go-to source for locally produced shows that reflect the province's language and culture. The plan, unveiled on June 22, signals a concerted effort to strengthen homegrown media and give families more options that speak to their daily lives. Parents can expect more educational series and bilingual programming that align with school curricula.
An investigation launched on June 22 into 16 police officers for alleged racist and hateful conduct toward Black and Arab residents has shaken trust in the force. The probe focuses on incidents in Montreal Nord, prompting Sud-Ouest and Côte-des-Neiges community leaders to question the years of relationship building with officers. Families who rely on police response for everyday safety say the allegations raise concerns about how quickly help might arrive in their neighborhoods. Local advocacy groups note that the accusations could affect cooperation during routine matters such as traffic stops, noise complaints, and neighborhood patrols. Police spokespersons confirmed the inquiry is ongoing and that officers are being suspended pending review. As the case proceeds, residents watch closely, aware that the outcome may shape the dynamic between law enforcement and the communities they serve.
Police leadership will gather behind closed doors on June 22 to confront allegations of racist conduct by officers in the Montreal Nord borough. The chief of the Montreal Police Service, accompanied by municipal officials, is set to discuss the complaints that have sparked public concern and calls for accountability. The meeting, not open to the press, aims to examine the evidence presented and determine any internal actions required. City authorities have indicated that the session will focus on procedural safeguards and possible reforms to restore confidence in law enforcement practices. While details of the discussion will remain confidential, the convening signals a direct response to community reports of bias and a willingness to address the issue within the force. Residents can expect that outcomes may shape future training and oversight protocols effectively.
Residents of Lachine gathered on June 22 to protest the borough's decision to scrap plans for an open-air swimming pool on Lake St. Louis. The mayor had announced the project would be abandoned, citing cost estimates that many locals say are inflated. At the rally, community members demanded a transparent review of the financial figures and urged the council to keep the pool in its development agenda. The proposed facility was intended to provide a seasonal recreation space for families and to boost local tourism along the lakefront. Officials said the budget would exceed initial projections, but opponents argued the numbers were overstated and that the loss would limit summer activities for neighborhood children. The borough now faces pressure to either revise the cost assessment or revive the pool proposal in the near future.
The province's Public Safety Ministry announced Tuesday that Ian Lafreniere will serve as an independent observer over the ongoing investigation into alleged racial profiling at the Montreal Nord Police Station. The appointment, confirmed by Minister Anne-Marie Boisvert, is intended to provide an impartial check on the inquiry following complaints that officers targeted residents based on race. Lafreniere's role will include reviewing investigative procedures, ensuring transparency, and reporting findings directly to the ministry. Police officials say the measure aims to restore confidence among community members who have expressed concern about discriminatory practices. The observer will begin his review immediately, with a final report expected later this year. Authorities stress that the step is part of a broader effort to address bias and uphold the integrity of policing in the area. City leaders hope the oversight will clarify any systemic issues and guide future training.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's weather has in store for us.
Let's take a quick look at Montreal's weather tonight and see what tomorrow might bring. On this day in 2020, Montreal sweltered to a record high of 34.8 degrees Celsius, a blistering mark set during an unprecedented heat wave that pushed the city well beyond its usual June warmth. Just a year later, in 2021, a A sharp cold snap knocked the temperature down to a record low of 9.8 degrees Celsius, reminding us how quickly the season can turn. By contrast, the climate normals for late June hover around a high of 22 degrees and a low of 15 degrees, giving us a useful benchmark for today's readings. It's 11 p.m. and Montreal sits under an overcast sky with a temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. Humidity is 68%, and a light breeze from the east pushes the air at 4 kilometers per hour. Overnight, the temperature will dip to a low of 14 degrees before sunrise. By mid-morning, the sun will climb, though clouds will keep the heat modest, reaching a high of 25 degrees. The UV index will sit at 6, so sunscreen is still a smart choice for anyone heading outside. Winds will gust up to 18 kilometers per hour from the south, feeling breezy but not uncomfortable. No rain is expected, and there are no active weather alerts. With those conditions in mind, let's move on to the 5-day outlook. Looking ahead, Tuesday stays overcast with a high of 24 and a low of 14, and no rain. Wednesday matches the high of 24 and low of 14, but brings a 25% chance of showers. Thursday rises to a high of 25 and a low of 16, with clouds thickening and a 45% rain probability, so an umbrella is wise. Friday becomes wetter, high of 21, low of 16, and a 60% chance of rain, meaning a damp commute. Saturday clears nicely, mainly clear skies, high of 24, low of 16, and only a 25% chance of a stray shower. Those temperature swings keep the week interesting, so dress in layers and enjoy the varied Montreal weather.
Traffic's easing downtown. We've got today's top stories and the Hockey Hall of Fame inductees in season. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
A quieter sports board today, with no fresh local team update from RSS. The Canadiens made NHL award history when captain Nick Suzuki claimed the Frank J. Selk Trophy and teammate Cole Caulfield was awarded the Lady Byng Trophy, both on the same day. According to CBC Sports NHL, the NHL confirmed both honors simultaneously, a rare double for any franchise. More good news out of the Canadiens organization, prospect Bryce Pickford has been named CHL Defenseman of the Year. Sportsnet reports the honor signals promising depth in Montreal's defensive pipeline, a name Habs fans will want to remember. On the women's side, the PWHL has released the selection order for its 2026 draft, set to take place in 2 days. Sportsnet reports the announcement gives teams and fans a clearer picture of how draft day will unfold.
On a bright Saturday morning in the Plateau Mont-Royal, families gathered around a refurbished playground that had sat empty for months. Volunteers from the local nonprofit Bright Futures, led by longtime resident Marie-Claude Tremblay, spent the night installing fresh paint on the swings and hanging a hand-woven mural that depicts children chasing butterflies across the sky. The scent of fresh lumber mingled with the aroma of fresh baked bagels from a nearby bakery, as neighbors of all ages handed out water bottles and shared stories of the park's past. When the ribbon was cut, a shy 5-year-old named Lucas stepped forward, his eyes widening as the newly painted slide glittered in the sun. He shouted, "It's a rainbow!" and the crowd erupted in applause, the sound echoing down the street. Later, a local musician strummed a gentle tune on his guitar, and children danced in circles, their laughter weaving into the melody. The moment reminded everyone that a simple act of teamwork can turn a forgotten corner into a place of joy and belonging. It's a reminder that when we come together, the heart of Montreal beats a little stronger.
In the bustling heart of the Plateau, at a modest independent bookstore tucked between a bakery and a vintage record shop, the latest chapter of a Quebec story is being turned. Author Marcel Lager, a former Waste Collection crew foreman, sits across from translator Emily Harris, a linguist who swears she once mistook a garbage truck for a moving van during a family trip to the suburbs. Their conversation is punctuated by the soft thud of a delivery cart as the first English-language copies of Orgers, Journal d'un Vidanjeur, are placed on the wooden display table. The memoir, which chronicled the rhythm of early morning routes, the clang of metal bins, and the quiet pride of the men and women who keep the city clean, sold out its initial print run in Quebec within weeks. Now with distribution slated for the United States, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, Japan, and South Korea, the book is poised to carry those everyday moments far beyond the St. Laurent River. The emotional climax arrives when a veteran collector, his hands still specked with the day's work, lifts the translated volume, his eyes lingering on the familiar cover. He smiles, and the room feels a little larger, as if the streets of Montreal have just stepped onto a world stage. It's a quiet reminder that stories rooted in ordinary labor can travel far and connect us all.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on The Wrap. Tonight's highlight, seeing Carey Price and Patrice Bergeron honored in the 2026 Hockey Hall of Fame, reminded us why sport matters. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that shape our city. Stay curious, stay engaged.